Hantavirus. Just an outbreak or the beginning of a new pandemic? Everything seemed normal. Just another ordinary day. Another ordinary routine. Until small signs began to appear. High fever, body aches, extreme fatigue, shortening of breath. Symptoms that could easily be mistaken for the flu, influenza, COVID, or even stress. But in some people, the lungs begin to fail rapidly, and what first seemed like a common infection turns into a desperate race against time. In recent days, health authorities around the world have once again turned their attention to an old, invisible enemy. Hantavirus, a rare disease, but an extremely deadly one. And one question has begun circulating among scientists and specialists worldwide. Are we facing isolated outbreaks or the possibility of a future pandemic? Hello, I'm Cristiano Pinho and welcome to another fascinating health video here on our channel today. Based on scientific evidence, we're going to explore hantavirus in depth. What it is, where it came from, its major strands, why the end strand concerns scientists so much, how transmission occurs, which counts are most vulnerable, and most importantly, is this matter an outbreak or could it become the next pandemic? First of all, let's explain what is hantavirus. According to the World Health Organization, hantavirus belong to the Hantaviridae family and are primarily transmitted by infected wild rodents. Humans are usually infected by an inhaled viral particles found in urine, feces, or saliva from these animals. So, how infection happens? In fact, the danger often exists where people least expect it. When clean and enclosed areas, barns, storage units, abandoned houses, or rodent-infested environments, microscopic contaminated particles may enter the respiratory system. Hantavirus can cause two major severe syndromes. Hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome, more common in Europe and Asia. Another one is a hantavirus cardiopulmonary syndrome, more frequent in the Americas and extremely dangerous. Now let's talk about its history and origin. The hantavirus gained worldwide attention during the Korean War in the 1950s. More than 3,000 soldiers developed severe hemorrhagic fever. The virus was later identified near the Hantan River, which inspired the name Hantavirus. Today, dozens of strains have been identified across multiple continents, each one associated with a specific rodent species. Is the end strain the most dangerous? Among all known strains, one has generated normal scientific concern is the end strains. Why is it so feared? The end strain became especially alarming because evidence suggests possible human-to-human transmission, something extremely rare among hantavirus. Let's talk now about human transmission. While most hantavirus depend exclusively on rodent exposure, the end strain demonstrates the potential for interpersonal transmission under specific circumstances, thus dramatically increases international epidemiological concern. The philosopher Michel Foucault once said, "Where there is power, there is surveillance," and perhaps never in modern history has public health surveillance been more necessary. Let's talk about epidemiological data. Hantavirus remains a global concern because of its high fatality rate. In some outbreaks, mortality exceeded 35% to 40%. In Brazil, most cases occur in Mato Grosso, Goiás, Minas Gerais, Santa Catarina, Paraná, São Paulo. Now, the risk factors: climate change, deforestation, agricultural expansion, and uncontrolled urban growth all increase human contact with wild reservoirs. Now, we're going to talk about the 5 most important studies of the last 6 years. The first study was published in The Lancet by Martinez Valdebenito colleagues. The year was 2024. The type of the study was multicenter epidemiological study. The population: Chilean patients infected with the end strain. The objective: to investigate patterns of human-to-human transmission. The result: interpersonal transmission was confirmed with family clusters. The interpretation: the end strain remains one of the most concerned hantavirus ever identified. Now, the study number 2 was published in the Nature Reviews Microbiology. The author was Vary and colleagues. The year was 2022. The type of study was systematic review. The objective: to evaluate genetic evolution and pandemic potential. The result was the emerging strains showed increased adaptation to human environments. The interpretation: environmental change may favor future outbreaks. The study number 3, it was emerging infectious disease. The author: Nust and colleagues. The year was 2021. The type of study was epidemiological surveillance study. The population was North American case. The result: rural occupational exposure remains the greatest risk factor. The study number 4 was the Frontiers in Cellular Infection Microbiology. The author: Fascinante and colleagues. The year was 2023. The result: severe inflammatory lung damage is one of the primary lethal mechanisms. Now, the study number 5, published on the virus. The author was Johnson and colleagues. The year was 2025. The type of study was translational review. The result: new vaccine technologies are currently under experimental development. The interpretation: there is still no widely available vaccine to public use. This is the problem. Now, a major question: outbreak or future pandemic? At this moment, experts still consider the risk of a global pandemic relatively low, but that does not mean the danger is absent. So, what worries scientists? What concerns scientists most in the combination of environmental disruption, increased human contact with reservoirs, viral mutations, and limited surveillance capacity in certain regions of the world? Now let's talk about prevention and management strategies. The best prevention strategies include: avoid contact with rodents, sealing openings in cracks, storing food properly, cleaning closed spaces using masks, and proper ventilation. Never sweep dry rodent traps without first moistening the area. Early identification is so important, especially when severe respiratory symptoms appear after environmental exposure. Just remember, our immune system depends deeply on lifestyle. Now we're going to talk about essential pillars. The most important pillars include restorative sleep, anti-inflammatory nutrition, regular physical activity, stress management, proper hydration, healthy sun exposure, metabolic balance. Some bioactive compounds studied for the antioxidant and immune support properties include zinc, vitamin D, quercetin, neoacetylcysteine, curcumin, propolis, omega-3 fatty acids. An educational example of a compound Surto formula, always under professional supervision, sure, may include vitamin D3, chelated zinc, quercetin, N-acetylcysteine, selenium, liposomal vitamin C. Important: no bioactive compound replaces medical diagnosis, sanitary prevention, hospitalization when necessary, or official treatments. Today, we learn the hantavirus is not merely a rare disease. It is also a warning about our relationship with the environment, the importance of epidemiological surveillance, and how small global change can create massive impacts on human health. The history of pandemics teaches us that the greatest dangers do not always begin with visible explosion, but with the silent signs that few people notice. I truly hope this video helped you understand this thought with more awareness, balance, and responsibility. If this content added value to your life, share it with others, because quality information can also save lives. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in our next video.